session because we wanted to have a type of review where we're freely sharing ideas. So it's not just a mentor and student type of setting na may magtuturo tapos others are just listening. We want it to be as interactive as possible. Parang nagko-coffee session lang tayo, and you can also share because I'm sure everyone here also has some experience in one way or the other with AWS, and feel free to share your ideas so that you can also help the other attendees as well. Ayan. So to start, so maybe okay, so just some reminders. So please be proactive and engage and ask questions and share your learnings. And we'll be providing some materials for you after the session. So we highly recommend you to do the assignments so that your learning will be more productive and you will retain the knowledge better. And we also ask you to invite friends and colleagues to join us, and make sure you have a laptop for the code labs, and join early for the session so that we can start on time. So ito yung mga ipapagawa namin for this session, but we can just send this to you later so that you can follow it. Yeah, so we already did our welcome and introduction for the mentor and icebreaker ba ulit? Sila rin yata yung kanina.
Okay, maybe what we can do na lang, just a quick round na lang. Some joined the session earlier today, but we can just quickly introduce ourselves.
Yep.
I'll just ask each and everyone, how do you feel today, and what are your expectations for this session? So let's start with Anna. Anna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I had a feeling na alphabetical siya. I'm Anna, I'm a developer. What I'm feeling today, okay, it's pretty hot ngayon sa city. And yep, hello. I expect, at least for this session, to know their guidelines and the format of the coffee sessions in the next few Sundays, like ano yung kailangan basahin beforehand, and probably an example of what an assignment looks like. Yung ganun. So yeah, hello.
Thanks, Anna. Yeah, summer na, no? When I was thinking like summer will start sometime mid-March, pero today it's like medyo pretty warm also.
Again, summer.
Oh. So welcome,
Yeah.
Anna. We hope we can help you out to prepare for the certification. I heard SAA is much harder na. Parang nag-iba yata yung examination or nag-update yung examination from what I'm seeing also. So, hindi naman siya alphabetically arranged, but I'm just randomly asking here in the chat. So maybe we can go with Joy next. Joy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, good afternoon po. I'm Joy and I'm an InfoSec engineer. And what I'm feeling right now, masarap po yung buko pie na kinakain ko. And ayun, yung ina-expect ko for for this session, kasi I've been studying and reviewing for SAA for like 1 year, more than 1 year already. Pero yung mga practice exam ko, failed pa rin. Kasi hindi talaga ako familiar with AWS. So, hoping na joining this session would help me to prepare for my examination. Kasi babaguhin na yata nila yung exam. So, from C02, magiging C03 na siya. So, natakot ako kasi baka yung na-review ko mapunta sa waste. So, yun. Kailangan ko na talagang mag-exam the soonest time possible. So, yun lang po.
Thanks, Joy. Looking forward. Sana makatulong kami. All right. Maybe we can go with Casey. Casey?
Yes po, hi. I'm Casey. I'm currently working as a cloud operations specialist po. Actually, certified na po ako sa SAA. Ano lang, kailangan ko lang din ng refresher kasi hindi ko na-apply yung yung ano ko, yung background ko sa SAA. Okay naman po ako today, kumakain ng chips. Expectation ko po, hopefully po ma-refresh yung memory ko sa mga sa SAA practice po. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Thanks, Casey. Baka you want to be a mentor also. Another way for you to sharpen your skills. Ayun.
Hindi po ganun ka-confident. Sige.
Okay lang yan. We don't need to be super expert here to share. So,
Yes po.
yun, nakakaingit yung mga merienda niyo ni Joy, ah. Parang nagutom ako bigla. Okay, thanks, Casey. Lego, would you like to go next? Is it Lego or Lego?
Lego. Lego.
Lego. Alright.
Actually, surname ko siya.
Oh.
First name ko ay Michael, pero naging nickname ko na yung surname ko. So, hi, I'm Lego. Currently, DevOps engineer po ako sa isang advertising company sa Ortigas. So, ano bang nararamdaman ko ngayon? Medyo gutom kasi hinihintay ko yung merienda namin. And then, expectation ko, kasi ngayon, yung mga projects namin ay gumagamit kami ng AWS. Pero nitong 2022, medyo nagkaroon kami ng, medyo okay na yung mga projects ko. Nagkaroon ako ng time. So, inisip ko na mag-take ako ng Solutions Architect para gusto ko lang ma-validate yung skills ko. So, expectation ko, sana magkaroon ako ng deep dive learning sa AWS, especially dito sa Solutions Architect. Yun lang po.
Thanks, Lego. Interesting, I didn't realize that ad agencies are now investing on mga digital applications and DevOps and things like that. So it's really good to know that they're more than just the media placements, the creative stuff also. So welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's go with Peter Paul. Peter Paul joined us earlier also. So it's nice that he's joining again. Maybe you can share, Peter Paul? Or is it your nickname, Peter lang?
Yep, Peter Paul.
Peter Paul talaga. Okay. All right. Sige, quick introduction.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Peter Paul. I'm working as a system support engineer. So actually I started learning AWS and cloud last year, October. Then but pero kulang pa din yung mga learnings ko eh. So that's why I explore any other groups. Parang kailangan ko ng community to enhance my learning and know what to learn on the cloud. So currently I'm having my coffee kahit mainit. Yan lang po.
Wait, sarap. Ewan ko, but pag Pinoy, no, nakakapagkape pa rin tayo kahit mainit. All right. Sige, maybe we can go. Thanks, Peter Paul. Maybe we can go with Teen. Welcome back. Teen is not new to the community.
Hello. Ako si Tin. So, pala software engineer ako. Based out of Seattle. Tapos last year parang nag-post si Shell sa sa Philippine AWS group. Tapos may gagawin nga silang coffee session. Tapos that time I was thinking of taking my cloud practitioner. So sumali ako din sa sessions nila. Tapos Tapos dahil sa tulong nila, December, napasa ko yun. So, next ko naman would be this one. So, yan. So, that's why I'm here. So, magpapaturo sa mga mentors natin. Yeah, yun lang. How am I feeling? Sorry. Medyo sleepy. Sleepy.
Anong oras ka ba dyan?
Alas 11.
Medyo,
Alas
oo.
11. Pero next week, kasi mag-change ng time, so magiging alas 12 na. So mas
Sabay
late
yun.
na.
Daylight savings.
Pero hello. Thank you for doing this again.
No, thank you for staying up also and joining us. Great to have you. Maybe you can go back. Jody, would you like to introduce yourself again? So magka-batch si Jody and si Tin last time. And both are certified already as cloud practitioners.
Yes, I'm Jody. Yung cloud practitioner medyo overwhelming nga yung exam niya. So, and then as you study, so marami ka palang hindi pa alam. And recently, medyo na-apply ko siya sa work. So, ay natutuwa naman ako. But I think I need more learning. So, yun. I don't know if kaya tong solutions architect associate. But yun, tingnan natin sa mga sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jody. And then I'll just quickly introduce Tere. Tere is also one of our mentors. So she just finished mentoring yung CCP earlier na session natin kanina. So welcome again, Tere. And thank you everyone for your support. So without further ado, ayan. Tere, mag-hi ka muna.
Hi! Good luck everyone. So kagaya rin ninyo ako. So nag-attend ako ng SAA review session kasi since wala pa yung BuildHers, nag-attend ako sa UG Philippines, AWS UG Philippines. And then, ayun, nakatulong nga siya ng malaki. And malaking bagay din yung nag-share din kayo ng knowledge sa CCP kasi andun dun yung retention. Tapos magiging mas familiar ka sa AWS services. Ngayon kung nakapasa na kayo sa CCP, mas maganda na siguro mag-mentor din kayo, no? Shell, mag-mentor din sila para mas iba kasi yung retention talaga pag tina-transfer mo yung knowledge. So yun yung malaking factor kaya ko siguro na ipasa yung SAA. And tama din yung comment nung iba na ako nga nun medyo malapit na yung exam, parang feeling ko bumabagsak pa ako sa practice test. Pero nag-focus din talaga ako sa readings, tapos yung mga video, pag hindi ko naiintindihan yung services, naghahanap ako ng video materials, tapos pinapanood ko siya. So yun yung mga tingin ko yung mga naging strong points kung at naipasa ko yung yung SAE. So hindi naman ganoon kataas yung score pero okay na rin. Hindi naman din kampay. Siguro mga 785 o di ba? Pasado ang passing is 720, di ba, Kay?
720, yes.
So siguro kung may mga 2 o 3 tatlong mistake baka bumagsak pa ulit ako. Yan, but I'm happy. So malaking tulong tong mga review sessions and mentoring talaga sa SAA journey. Ngayon I'm pushing naman for DevOps naman. So yun yung pinag-aaralan ko ngayon. Ayun. So yun guys, good luck sa inyo. Yes.
Good luck.
And medyo may konting application nga rin kasi because of our mga recent projects. So kaya kailangan din matuto. Ayun. Sige, thank you and good luck everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tere.
Before Kay starts, quick update lang. So we're working out with AWS regional team to get certification vouchers. So cross fingers, makakuha tayo. We'll keep everyone updated about it. If makakuha tayo ng vouchers, we'll just ask everyone, the only conditions we'll ask everyone is for you to be able to attend 3 out of the 4 sessions or at least all the sessions. And at least meron kayong passing grade sa mga practice test ninyo. So, yun. Good luck. Sana makuha din natin yung certification voucher request natin para free kayo makakapag-take ng certification. So, ayan. Go ahead, Kay. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Shell. Ayun. Yun nga yung isang maganda sa community. Maraming mga freebies. Actually, ako yung share ko lang rin. Last year, I took yung solution, yung SysOps, tsaka yung cloud practitioner, tinake ko last year for free because of the freebies given by the community. So, yun. Ayan. Na-introduce na ako. Skip na natin. Ayan. So, this is the Certified Solutions Architect Associate. So, we should take this exam. This is intended for anyone with 1 or more years of hands-on experience. Pero, wag nyo lang pansinin yan. Kahit wala kayong hands-on experience, kayang-kaya siya ipasa. I myself, parang 6 months lang ako in practice when I took the Solutions Architect Associate exam. Yun. So, ano lang siya, recommendation na at least meron kang at least 1 year of experience kasi mas ma-appreciate mo yung mga inaaral sa exam if you have that on your belt. Ayun. So again, this is the associate level. So, andito siya. That before, parang prerequisite yung cloud practitioner, pero recent, hindi recent, medyo matagal na rin na inallow nila na you can already take the associate immediately. Pero based from personal experience, I still recommend going the path of cloud practitioner first before going to associate level. And then sa professional ganun din, pwede na rin diretso ngayon. Pero ayun nga, mas maganda kasi mas ma-appreciate mo yung progression nung learnings kapag nag-start ka from cloud practitioner going up. Then there's also the specialty. But this review session will be focusing on the solutions architect. Ayan. So, ito, how to book an exam. Meron pa bang hindi familiar with booking an exam? Siguro, i-quick run through na lang din natin yung how to book an exam. So, you have to create an account in AWS. Yan, magsa-sign in ka lang and then wala siyang slide. Ayan, ito pala yung sinasabi ni Tere kanina na mag-change na siya by August 30. So, by August 30, meron ng new version of the Solutions Architect, yung CO3 na. Hindi natin sure exactly kung ano yung magiging changes doon, pero sabi nila, mas mahirap daw. So, if you can also take earlier para yung materials is still updated up to that time. So, ayun. Ito yung mga dates to note. So, last day to take the current exam is August 29. Tapos, registration is open for the updated exam by July 26. Ayan. Ayan, sinabi pala dito. Nag-iba lang yung percentage. Ayan. So, designing, ito yung coverage ng examination. So, for module na design resilient architectures, that will be 26% na lang. Mukhang tinaas nila yung sa secure applications and architecture. So, naging 30% na siya from 24%. Ayun. Yun lang naman yung mga change. Parang mukhang security talaga yung ano. And ayun, yun naman talaga important when doing an architecture. Ayun. So ito, meron tayong sample exam, pero again, since mahaba kasi yung course, i-message na lang namin. I-email namin after the session and you can take the sample exam. So i-message ko rin dito sa chat box and we'll also send it via email.
Okay, wag mo na i-chat kasi parang nagkamali yata ako ng link.
Okay, sige.
That is for the CCP. So i-email na lang natin yung SAA.
Thank you, Tere.
Okay. Thank you.
Ayan. Sige, isi-send namin later yung practice exam. So you can take it as early as now para ma-assess nyo kung ano yung score nyo at the beginning of the series of session. Kasi again, this is for Sundays of review. tapos after the full course, you can retake the exam and see kung tumaas ba yung score nyo or kung nakatulong ba yung review sessions on your progression. Yun. So let's move to the next module. Yung mga umattend kanina, baka maging redundant to kasi meron kaming quick review lang nung session about sa cloud practitioner. Pero mabilis lang din siya.
It's actually a good way din, Kay, di ba? Kasi yung cloud practitioner, yung foundation talaga nung mga knowledge mo on AWS also. So parang refresher lang to. Ayan.
And we'll also quickly touch dun sa mga services na kasi sa cloud practitioner mga basic services siya talaga, and then makikita niyo yung mga inad na services na makikita niyo sa solutions architect exam. Yan. So with that, let's quickly watch this video. Ay, hindi pala naka-link yung, sige, isisend na lang rin namin yung video, pero alam naman natin yung definition of the cloud. It's basically moving from the on-prem yung mga services and having it available in a different data center that's accessible via internet. So yun yung basic concept of the cloud. And the program overview of this course we'll have 4 sessions, and it will be both lecture and lab, and we'll focus on a small group and localized interactive style. And we recommend to have your certification exam immediately after the last session so that fresh pa sa memory nyo yung mga inaral. Then there will be 9 lectures and 3 quizzes, tapos 6 labs and 6 assignments. Tapos we also have post-program support and volunteer. You can also volunteer to future sessions. And bakit ganon? Kasi katulad ng sinabi ni Tere, ito yung learning retention rate when you teach to others is 90%. So mas madali mo siyang matatandaan kahit na hindi mo siya pinapractice. Pag pinapractice mo 75% lang, pero pag tinuturo mo na siya, mas matatandaan mo siya. So we also encourage you to volunteer once you pass the exam. Ayun. So now let's go. 30 minutes na. Bilisan lang natin dito. So, cloud computing service types. So, ayan yung IaaS or Infrastructure as a Service. So, ang mga ino-offer ni AWS na services for this is yung EC2, RDS, EBS, and VPC. Then, for platform as a service naman, andyan yung Elastic Beanstalk and Amazon Lightsail. Then, software as a service, yung Amazon Workdocs. Then, function as a service, yung AWS Lambda. Ayan. And, ano ba yung benefit of going to the cloud? Bakit ba siya yung pinupursue ng mga IT companies now? So, ito yung basic advantages niya. You trade capital expense for variable expense. So, instead na mag-invest ka sa mga on-prem servers na hindi mo alam kung magagamit mo in full naman, you can just utilize the cloud na pay as you go siya, na kahit na 1 hour mo lang gagamitin yung EC2, you can easily spin that up and yun lang yung babayaran mo. Then you can also benefit from massive economies of scale. So pag mas marami kang services na ina-avail sa AWS, you can have some discount. So for example, meron mga 1 year or 3-year term of having your virtual machine or yung EC2 servers mo, and you get the discount provided by AWS when you do that. So may mga ganong concept siya. You also stop guessing your capacity. Meron siyang mga metrics na pinaprovide sa dashboard, so you can know kung na-utilize ba talaga yung isang server na in-spin up mo. For example, kung yung CPU ba masyadong malaki, and then you can adjust that on the fly. Pwede mong sabihin na, okay, i-terminate ko na tong instance na to, and then I'll go for a lower lower instance. Kapag on-prem, mahirap siya gawin kasi ibebenta mo yung server, then bibili ka ng bagong server. With the cloud, mas mabilis siya gawin. And it also increases speed and agility. So, new IT resources are only a click away. Yun nga, parang may dashboard ka lang na dun mo kinokontrol yung services na minamanage mo. Stop spending money running and maintaining data centers. So maraming ino-offer ang AWS na managed services, meaning hindi mo kailangang bantayan yung mga OS patching, yung mga ganong stuff, and have AWS handle those for you. So yung mga cost on running data center is na-eliminate. And you can go global in minutes, and lower latency and better experience for your customers at minimal cost. Any questions so far? Yan. Vertical versus horizontal scaling. So ano ba to? Concept na to. Vertical, so ito yung example. So again, as mentioned, for example, meron kang isang EC2 server na gumagamit ng M3 medium class, or ito siya, 2 CPU and 3.75 gig of RAM. Tapos kailangan mo ng higher, ayun. So pwede kang kumuha ng M3X large, which provides yung higher capacity. Tapos, ayun. Pag kunyari napapansin mo, ay 90% na yung usage mo and 95% for memory consumption, you can opt to transition to a higher yung specs ng EC2. Ay, sorry. Hindi ko pala na-share. Hindi ko ba naka-share? Ay, may naka-share. Ay, okay. Sige. Ayan. Kita niyo yung mouse ko? May mga tinuturo ako eh. Pero yun, sige.
Kita naman.
So, yun yung vertical scaling. So, basically, same server pero in-increase mo siya in capacity. Meron ding horizontal scaling naman. Ang difference nito is instead of in-increase mo yung capacity, in-increase mo yung number. So, for example, meron ka isang EC2 instance, gusto mo kapag na-reach na niya yung 90% usage ng CPU and 95% memory consumption, mag-scale siya horizontally, meaning mag-spin up siya ng another EC2 instance. So, yun yung horizontal scaling. Yeah. Next, 5 pillars of the AWS well-architected framework. So, ayan siya, yung operational excellence, security, reliability, performance efficiency, cost optimization. Ayun, kung medyo nabibilisan kayo, itong module na dinidiscuss ko is review lang siya ng CPP. Pag hindi kayo familiar pa rito, we suggest na you also attend yung earlier sessions for next week, yung for CCP talaga, kasi yun yung nagda-dive deep into these topics. Yun. Kaya dito binibilisan lang namin kasi parang review session lang siya for CCP. Yan. So, yan, operational excellence, basically, it performs as you expect. So, yun yung operational excellence. Security naman, from the word itself, security, you're able to protect the information, system, and assets while delivering business value through risk assessment and mitigation strategies. Yan yung mga pillars. Reliability, kaya ba mag-recover nung system? For example, may failure, makaka-recover siya by itself, so you don't have to manage it manually. So yun yung reliability. And meron siyang pinufulfill na SLA. For example, 100 or at least 90% up yung services, gusto mo ganong level siya. So it's very reliable. So isa siyang pillar din ng well-architected framework. And performance efficiency. So ito yung ability to use computing resources efficiently to meet system requirements and to maintain that efficiency as demand changes and technologies evolve. Cost optimization. Ayun. So just as you're scaling up, meron ding scaling down. Meaning, kapag hindi na-utilize yung isang service, pwede mo siyang scale down. So ang babayaran mo lang is lower kasi hindi naman na-utilize yung for example, 3 EC2, and mababa naman yung utilization. So, pwede siya mag-scale down din so that you can optimize yung cost mo sa services na ina-avail mo. Ayun. So, next, sa global infrastructure, quick review lang din sa global infrastructure ng AWS. So, we have the concept of region and availability zone. Basically, yung mga data center ng AWS is naka-group into regions, tapos may availability zone. Yung region is basically a certain location siya, cluster of data centers na located sa isang region. Ayan. Tapos within the region, there's at least 2 availability zones that within the same region pa rin siya, pero logically separate siya. So, it provides better reliability kasi in case na mag-down yung isang availability zone, you still have your services up sa isang availability zone. So, ganang concept lang siya. Yan. So, ang i-discuss sa later modules related to global infrastructure ito. Tatouch natin yung local region, local zone, mga AWS services rin siya related to infrastructure. Next is network services. Ayan, ito yung isa sa mga hardest topic, I think, sa cloud. VPC. So basically, virtual private network siya pero nasa cloud. Ayan, so andyan yung concept ng subnets, routes, gateways, NACL, IP address spaces. Ayan. Andito rin yung service na Amazon Route 53. Hindi ko sure kung na-discuss to nung sa CCP, pero ano siya, basically DNS resolver ng service ng AWS. So, for example, yung example.com, magre-resolve siya to an IP. Ayun. So, yun yung Amazon Route 53 na service. Meron din siyang mga policy, and mamaya i-discuss rin natin to in detail ulit. Elastic load balancing. So, ito naman yung dinidistribute yung traffic across multiple nodes. So, merong load balancer concept. Tapos, parang multiple backend siya. For example, 3 EC2, elastic load balancing yung service na nag-handle nung traffic distribution between those 3 nodes. Ayan. Tapos, ito yung mga additional na i-discuss rin sa later modules. Yan, mga AWS services again siya na mas advanced. Yan, compute services. So, yan, na-discuss rin ni Tere kanina. Nandito yung virtual machines, containers, and the serverless concept. So, lahat to is under the compute service. So, ito yung isa sa mga most favorite topic sa exam, yung EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, which is basically yung virtual machine sa cloud. So it has a CPU, RAM, may disk, and network interface, and it's placed in a specific AZ or subnet. Lambda is also under compute services. So Lambda naman is under function as code siya. So basically, serverless siya na pwede kang mag-upload ng code without managing yung underlying infrastructure, na hindi ka nagmamanage ng mga server kung saan naka-install yung application mo. Parang in-upload mo lang yung code tapos somehow it already works. So that's Lambda. Very easy to use na serverless service. To discuss in later modules. So ito yung mga additional services that we'll touch later under compute services. Next group, yung storage. So andito yung Elastic Block Store. Basically, ito yung storage volume siya. And it's attachable to a single EC2 instance. So parang ano siya, data storage ng EC2, and you place it in a specific AZ. Tapos andito yung mga volume types na general purpose, provision, IOPS, magnetic. So again, it will be touched in detail later. Yan. Ito, isa sa mga earliest services introduced by AWS, yung S3 or simple storage service, kaya S3, tatlong S. So, cloud storage siya. Similar to Google Drive. Pwede kang mag-store ng files or any object sa kanya. Yan. Tapos meron siyang SLAN, engineered availability of 99.9999% daw. 9 tapos 9 nines, 9 na nines for object durability. Then for storage, other topics that we'll touch on is yung elastic file system, FSX, Lustre, and medyo mga advanced topics na rin siya. S3 Glacier and Vault, Snowball, SFTP, and Storage Gateway. Next, yung database services. So yan, yung RDS, basically, a database siya na relational and it's managed, meaning hindi mo ulit minamanage yung underlying infrastructure. So ano yung mga andito, yung MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, ito yung mga supported ni AWS. And it also promises availability and durability. So meron siyang mga ino-offer na automated backup. Pwede mo siyang automatically nagba-backup siya. Tapos it can also take database snapshots and it can also be deployed across multiple AZ for more durability. And yung read replica naman for better performance in terms of read transactions across the database. So kapag read heavy yung database mo, pwede kang mag-provision ng read replica. So ang concept na to is it increases in performance because instead na isang database lang yung nagsaserve ng traffic for database reads, meron kang read replica that does that. Yun yung mga in-offer ni RDS. And ayan, ito yung in detail na i-discuss rin for database services. Next, elasticity and monitoring. So ano ba yung mga under dito? Amazon CloudWatch, ito yung monitoring services for AWS resources. Parang ano siya, makakakita ka rito ng mga logs or metrics na nagko-collect siya ng mga for example, nagde-debug ka ng infrastructure, yung CloudWatch yung magiging best friend mo doon kasi meron kang makukuhang mga log files sa kanya and you can easily identify yung mga errors that happened for your infrastructure. And you can also configure it to set alarms. Mag-a-alarm siya automatically sa'yo once something fails. Yan. And it's also a regional service. EC2 auto-scaling. Ito naman is a service of AWS that automatically controls yung scaling. So it's horizontal scaling. So pwede siyang mag-provision ng another EC2. Pwede siyang mag-terminate din ng EC2 kapag hindi mo siya ginagamit. So, ayan. Yan, self-healing and may fault tolerance siya. Yan. Next, for security and audit. So, may concept of shared security model for cloud. So, merong part ng cloud na minamanage ni customer and merong responsible naman si AWS. So, ano yung mga to? So, for yung customer, ang mga responsibility niya, basically yung managing yung customer data, platform applications, and yung mga IAM setup, yung operating system, network and firewall configuration, kung hindi manage yung services na ginagamit niya. And pag-set up nung sa database side naman, pwede mong i-configure yung database mo na meron siyang encryption, yung mga ganong level of customization. And ang promise naman ni AWS sa side niya, for example, sa mga managed services in particular, siya yung bahala sa management ng mga infrastructure, mga underlying infrastructure na yun. Ayun. Security groups, this is also under networking. Basically, ito yung nagko-control ng inbound traffic source and outbound traffic destination. So, pwede kang mag-define ng ports that you want to deny traffic to your services, pwede ka ring mag-define ng mga ports na i-allow mo to your services. AWS Shield. Ito naman yung AWS service that handles yung mga DDoS attacks. So another managed service by AWS. And you can avail of the free, yung Shield standard, and yung advanced. Basically yung advanced, meron siyang dedicated na account manager na nag-a-assist sa'yo for in case na nagkaroon ng DDoS attack dun sa server na mini-maintain mo. Tapos ito yung mga advanced topics that we'll also discuss further as we progress. Account management, ang haba pala. Account management. So ito yung mga login. Yan. Pinakasikat na service for this is yung identity access management, which handles yung authentication and authorization, mga login accounts. You can control access granularly, meaning pwede mong bigyan siya ng certain access to certain services lang. Meron siyang roles na tinatawag. Yan, user groups. Pwede mo siyang i-group. Yung certain group, meron siyang role na mga, kunyari, dev role. Ang mga na-access lang niya is yung mga non-prod account. Tapos for prod accounts, yung mga admin users. So pwede mo siyang assignan ng roles. And you do it by policies. And you can also set up yung multi-factor authentication. AWS Trusted Advisor, ito naman is parang automated siya na advisor. So basically, meron siyang dashboard na magsasabi sa'yo kung ano yung mga pwede mong i-improve sa architecture ng system na sinet up mo. So magbibigay siya ng advice on these things in particular. So kapag meron kang mga services na pwede pang pwede pang i-optimize in terms of cost. So sasabihin niya yung mga idle resources mo na pwede mo nang i-terminate since wala namang traffic for a certain time sa kanya. So mag-a-advise siya for that. It can also advise on fault tolerance. So for example, meron kang mga nakaset up na hindi niya na-fulfill yung fault tolerance capabilities ng cloud. So mag-a-advise din siya dun. Andyan din yung performance, service limits, and security. So yun yung trusted advisor. And ito yung mga i-discuss natin in detail later. Automation services. Yan, mostly mga serverless naman to. So simple notification service. Yan, from the word itself, notification. Meron siyang publisher. So pwede siyang mag-push ng notification. So yung palatandaan ko dito yung N, push notification siya. Push. Kasi parang pag nag-push ka, mahuhulog siya dito. Ano lang siya, parang tip lang. So simple notification services, basically, you can provide a topic for subscription. Tapos, pwede kang mag-push ng notification and it can be pushed to many subscribers. Ganun siya. Yan. Simple queue service naman. Queuing service, so basically nagko-queue siya in a system. So it allows the coupling of application component and eliminates the need for managing and operating messages-oriented middleware. And meron siyang two types, yung standard queue and FIFO queue. Tapos, more advanced topic for messaging, yung Amazon MQ. Yan, microservice and serverless. So dito nag-fall si Lambda. Basically, upload code, tapos manage service siya na serverless, and it will automatically work. It's a function that automatically works once you upload the code, and you don't have to manage the underlying infrastructure. And you also pay only for the compute time you consume. So kunyari, 0.001 second mo lang ginamit yung function. So yun lang yung babayaran sa kanya. and more advanced topics that will be discussed later under this section, yung step functions, API gateway, event bridge, yan, Fargate, and ELB, application load balancer. Ayan, ito na yata yung last, caching. So caching, of course, yung CloudFront, yung pinaka gamit dito. Basically, ito yung content delivery network. It provides caching sa mga kunyari sa website. So meron siyang cache, so para hindi ka laging nagko-call sa back-end. Kina-cache niya dun sa CloudFront level para better performance nung application, since doon na lang niya kukunin sa CloudFront yung cache data. Tapos ito part na lang siguro ng email namin. Since email naman namin yung PowerPoint presentation. So naka-group lang basically dito yung ano yung mga services for compute, for storage, for database. Ayan. And kapag nag-login ka rin pala sa AWS Management Console, makikita mo rin yung, kunyari, dun sa search bar. Hindi ko mapakita kasi sira yung account ko ngayon. Pero naka-group siya according to categories. For example, kailangan mo ng compute services, ano yung mga services na under nun. Naka-group siya na ganitong style. So, it will be easier for you to identify. And I think ito yung last for the review. Any questions so far sa review? Alam ko masyadong mabilis siya, pero sana absorb kayo kahit konti.
May services ba na hindi kayo familiar or you want to deep dive ng konti?
Yung most naman po is i-discuss rin ulit.
Alright, sige.
As we progress. So, para 1 hour na lang kasi conscious sa time kasi mahaba yung yung course. Let's proceed sa ito, mabilis lang to. Common architectures. So this is the third module of 4 for today. Lang po. Ayan. So, ay, asa na yung... So ito, I'll just show yung mga common architecture na sineset up sa AWS. It will also give yung parang overview rin ng mga services na ginagamit to complete yung isang architecture na yun. Ayan. So kung hindi nyo pa masyadong ma-absorb din tong topic na to, at least ang purpose nito is to introduce yung mga services and how they connect with each other to form one single architecture. So yun yung purpose of this module. So yan. Siguro ano na lang to. Anyone familiar with LAMP? Paano na lang sa chat box kung ano yung LAMP. Kung may familiar ba sa inyo or wala. So LAMP is basically it means Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So usually yun yung mga ginagamit all together to form one single architecture. So Linux, ayan, pakita ko na lang yung tsura niya. Yan. So yung Linux part, yun yung operating system. So, ayun. Ano naman yun self-explanatory. Linux is the operating system, Apache is the web server, then MySQL is the database, and then PHP yung programming language. So, common architecture niya is something like this. And so, kung makikita mo dito, ito yung client or user of the application. And usually, meron siyang nakaset up na isang EC2 server. Nakikita niyo ba yung mouse ko or hindi? Ayan, sige. Ayan, EC2, sa EC2 server, andun yung it's using the Linux operating system, tapos dyan din naka-install yung Apache na web server and yung PHP application. And then it connects to a SQL database. And itong EC2 and MySQL is deployed in a single availability zone. And itong availability zone na to is under one regional virtual private network. So yan. So ano ba yung mga AWS services na na-introduce dito? So EC2, basically virtual machine siya, computer siya na pwedeng installan ng mga application. Tapos yung service, yung MySQL is managed database service. So wala kang pakialam dun sa infrastructure niya. Yan. Tapos naka-connect siya. It's deployed in a single availability zone, meaning within a logical network. One logical network siya. Ayan. Virtual, in one virtual private network. Yan. Tapos yung S3, andito naman yung mga object files. So yun yung mga services for this architecture. Going to a more complex architecture of LAMP. So, pwede rin pumasok dito yung Elastic Beanstalk. So, what is Elastic Beanstalk? It's an easy to use na service for deploying and scaling web applications. So, pwede kang mag-define na through Elastic Beanstalk, pwede mo i-define na you want na meron kang EC2. So, kung kanina isang EC2 lang, pwede mo siyang gawin na 3 nodes in one availability zone. Tapos meron kang 2 availability zones for better reliability. Then, gusto mo rin siyang i-define na nakakonect sa multi-AZ na database. Yan. So, same services, pero mas utilizing more of the cloud offerings, which is yung reliability and durability. Yan, Drupal. Anyone familiar with Drupal naman? Ako hindi masyado, pero basically yung Drupal is medyo old, na kasi ito.
Parang CMS.
Sino yan? Familiar, si Tin ba yun?
Joy po.
Si Joy, ayan. Familiar ka sa Drupal? Baka may ma-share ka about it.
Narinig ka lang po ng college sa.
Medyo luma na kasi siya, di ba? Pero basically, siya nga, tama ka, yung content management platform siya. And ano ba yung mga services? Kapag nag-deploy ka ng, ayan, i-message ko na lang rin to. Ito yung pwede nyong tignan. Pag magsiset up ka ng isang Drupal architecture in AWS, ito yung mga services na magagamit mo. Hindi siya masyadong clear sa dito sa page, pero basically meron kang Route 53. So again, yung Route 53 is the DNS resolver. So kunyari meron ka example.com na gusto mo mag-route, naka-point siya sa CloudFront mo. So yun. Yung CloudFront naman, yung caching system na nagde-deliver siya ng static and dynamic. CloudFront mo, ito yung nagpo-front naman ng Amazon S3. So para meron siyang caching system. Kapag fetch mo yung mga contents, mga static files, gano'n, naka-cache siya sa CloudFront, kaya may CloudFront ka sa harap. Tapos Amazon S3 yung storage ng objects mo. Then we also have yung internet gateway. Medyo advanced topic yung internet gateway, pero basically ang internet gateway provides internet connection to your private network. So kapag meron kang VPN dito, hindi siya accessible by public. Kailangan mo mag-set up ng internet gateway. So ito yung AWS service for that. Tapos, ito yung basically yung connector mo for your application load balancer na pa rin siya, multiple AZ pa rin siya. So, para mas resilient. And You also have yung NAT gateway. I-discuss rin to in detail later. Pero basically yung NAT gateway in conjunction siya with the internet gateway for providing internet access to your private network. Kasi sa networking concepts, merong public subnet and merong private subnet para mas maging secure yung system mo. Ang recommended is yung mga application servers is naka-deploy in a private network. Pero syempre para ma-expose siya sa internet and ma-access ng mga users via internet, meron kang public subnet na dun mo nakaset up yung NAT gateway and internet gateway para ma-access yung files in a secure manner. So ito yung architecture. Ito yung mga services. Yung mga bilog, yun yung service na ginamit na pinaprovide ni AWS. Siguro nakaka-overwhelm yung services pero mamaya i-discuss naman siya in detail ulit. Mas i-define natin kung ano yung service na yun and ano yung purpose ng service na yun. Ano pa yun na dito? Memcached. Memcached is ano naman, caching service. So kung dito banda sa front, 'di ba meron tayong cloud front na nagpo-provide ng caching. Sa database side naman, meron ding ganon na concept. So memcached naman yun, yung tawag dun. So AWS service din siya pero used for database service naman siya. Caching service for database. So ang database na ginamit dito is Aurora. And ano pa? Ayan, meron siyang EFS mount target for your wait lang. Ayan, meron siyang EFS for EFS yung file system naman. So yan. Ito yung architecture ng Drupal. Medyo complex siya. Pero marami kang AWS service na ma-expose with kapag tinignan mo yung architecture niya. Any questions so far dito? Sa exam, hindi naman ganitong level yung exam na ipapag-design ka ng architecture. Pero ano lang, siguro itong module na to is talagang in-introduce lang for para mas maintindihan mo how it all works together. Kasi kapag dinedefine natin isa-isa yung mga service, parang hindi mo siya ma-appreciate. Parang okay, ito yung definition niya. Pero kapag pinagsama-sama na siya, makikita mo yung how it all works together in a single architecture. Pero for the purpose of the exam, mostly naman kailangan lang ma-memorize nyo yung concept of kung ano yung purpose ng mga services talaga. Pero yun, siguro mas magigets mo rin siya kapag naka-layout siya in a single architecture. Yun. So let's proceed. Wala namang question, no? Meron ba? Sana may na-absorb kayo. Ayan. Web application hosting. Ito naman yung pinaka-common na architecture na makikita nyo sa AWS. Kasi usually naman nagde-deploy talaga tayo ng web apps sa cloud. So ano yung mga services na involved dito? So again, Route 53 ulit para dun sa domain. Yan, domain name service. So Route 53, papasok siya sa CloudFront. Ganun usually eh. Route 53 nakakonect sa CloudFront for caching. Tapos yung caching mo, pwede mo i-connect sa S3 for the storage service, naka-cache siya dun sa CloudFront. Tapos siya rin yung nagpo-front dun sa load balancer. Load balancer naman yung nagdi-distribute across ng traffic across different web servers sa different availability zones. So pwedeng some traffic will go to this web server, some traffic will go to this web server. Then you can also set up another load balancer for your backend dun sa application servers mo. Ano pala yung difference ng application server sa web server? Web server is basically ito yung nagre-respond dun sa HTTP request, and yung application server is yung ito yung mismong business logic ng application. Tapos, sa likod ng application server, andun yung database. So, ganun naman, di ba, yung multi-tiered architecture. And diniscuss lang dito yung mga AWS services involved on each tier. So, quick reviews, S3 for storage, CloudFront for content delivery, for caching. Yan. Tapos may load balancer, EC2 for web servers, tapos load balancer ulit, EC2 ulit for application server, and then yung database. Ito, ano to? Mas complex lang siya. Mas complex lang na architecture. Tapos i-message ko na lang din yung further reading na pwede nyong basahin on the different architectures related to AWS. Ayan. Ito naman, stateless architecture naman siya. So, pag sinabing stateless, wala siyang stateless. It doesn't need knowledge of yung previous transaction. So, kunyari, ang user nag-access ng web content ngayon, tapos mamaya mag-access siya ulit, hindi niya kailangan yung nakuha niyang data from the previous session. So, kaya siya stateless. So, it doesn't need any knowledge of the previous interaction, and it also stores no session information. So, hindi kailangang na-maintain yung session kasi every request mo naman is unique from the second request. So, ano yung mga services na involved sa ganitong architecture? So, ganun ulit, merong load balancer, ELB for the load balancer. Then you can have stateless web servers. Ang ginamit dito, I believe, is EC2 pa rin. Hindi. Stateless. Pwede rin siyang EC2. Na naka-auto-scale. Sa EC2 kasi merong mga spot instances na tinatawag. Meaning hindi siya laging live. Pwede siyang ma-terminate anytime. Live lang siya for a certain period of time tapos pwede na-terminate kapag di mo na ginagamit. And since wala kang data na hinuhold sa kanya, pwede siyang kaya siya stateless. Kasi hindi important na lagi siyang live. As opposed to dun sa mga kunyari, mga financial system na meron kang somewhat in-store na data dun sa servers mo. So it has to be live all the time. So kapag stateless, pwede kang gumamit ng mga spot instances dito. Spot instances type ng EC2 siya. Tapos ang backend database na ginamit dito is I believe this is DynamoDB, yung ganitong logo. So DynamoDB is a NoSQL class of database where it's non-relational, meaning hindi siya yung may primary key, ganun. Ano lang siya, meron lang siyang key value pair, ganun. Yes, Ana. May question?
Oops, sorry, nakamute ako. Ano yung meaning ng green na connection lines from the stateless web servers to spot to the session state data? Bakit siya green? And bakit may hard hat din na green?
Hindi ko rin sure. Yep, I'll ask, siguro hanapin ko dun sa documentation kung saan nanggaling to. Hindi ko rin sure kung
bakit kaya naka-connect that way.
Sige, I'll take a note.
Thank you.
Na lang din sa email. Thank you for that question. Okay, so proceed tayo sa next. Wala na akong others sabihin dyan. Mobile Lambda. So ito naman, mostly using serverless naman siya. So ito, i-message ko yung ito yung document for this architecture. So Basically, meron siyang tiers, meron siyang presentation, logic, and data tier. So ano yung presentation tier niya? Ang ginamit niyang service yung API gateway for the presentation tier. Basically, kapag nagsiset up ka kasi ng API sa AWS, ang ginagamit mong service doon is AWS Lambda. And API gateway, basically, yung logic andun sa Lambda, pero yung presentation part is yung API gateway. Yun. So, presentation part ito. Logic part is yung Lambda. Tapos yung data side naman is yung DynamoDB. And mapapansin mo lahat ng service na ginamit niya rito is serverless. Yan. May sasabihin ako rito eh. Ayun. So, yan. Mapapansin mo dito, tatlong Lambda services siya. And API gateway din yung nagko-control kung saan i-route yung traffic. Based doon, for example, pumasok na request is /tickets. So, i-route niya yung traffic papunta dun sa isang Lambda service na that handles yung tickets na path. So, kapag naman ang pumasok na request is shows, doon naman siya papasok sa another Lambda service. So, hindi siya yung redundant na tulad nung EC2 kanina na pare-pareho siya ng sinserve. Ito naman, ginagamit yung API gateway for the purpose of routing the traffic kung anong Lambda yung magsaserve ng function na yun. So, for tickets, itong Lambda na to. For /shows, itong Lambda na to. Then for /info, itong Lambda na to. Secrets Manager, ito naman yung nag-handle ng mga password. And yun yung ginagamit sa kanya. Then meron ding RDS and DynamoDB for handling yung data. Cognito, ito na-touch rin to sa CCP. Cognito naman is basically a service na mas madali mo siyang i-set up to use yung IAM along with third-party services. So, pwedeng may mga identity provider kasi like Facebook or Google na andun na yung users mo. You don't have to set up another Active Directory for your users. But i-reuse mo yung third-party identity provider na yun. So, yun yung purpose ni Cognito na service. So, ang mga services rito, API Gateway, Cognito, and yan, Lambda. Then for the database, DynamoDB and RDS. Next architecture, may 45 minutes pa tayo. Microservice using containers. Ayan. Ayan. So ano ba yung microservice? Dati kasi, kung familiar kayo dun sa monolithic type of application, parang isang malaking application, isang malaking code, parang code siya na sama-sama lahat doon, lahat ng logic, lahat ng UI layer magkakasama in one monolithic app. So sobrang laki siya. You can imagine kapag nagde-deploy ka ng application, sobrang tagal kasi kahit na isang line of code lang yung binago mo, i-deploy mo yung buong yun. Nung inintroduce yung microservice, basically, ginroup niya into logical individual logic yung business logic is na separate into logical groups. Ayun. So, for example, ang microservice na to, ang sinaserve nga lang niya is yung for example, for customers, yun, for login, ito lang. Tapos kapag mga transactions ng customer, andito sa another microservice. So, ang architecture na to is hindi siya bound sa typical na 3-tier architecture na merong presentation layer, logic, and data layer. Pero naka-group siya into business logic itself. So, andun ito yung isang microservice, ito another microservice. basically mas ano siya, granular. Ganun. And yung ginamit na AWS services to do this architecture is, again, Amazon API Gateway ulit and Lambda. Ayan. So, yun na yung last dun sa architecture slides natin. Any questions? May another quiz dito. Pero i-email na lang ulit namin kasi mahaba rin to eh. Ayan, yan siya. You can take it on your free time as part of your homework. And that's all for this module. Yan, last module tayo kung walang question. Or may question ba? Load ko lang. Wait. Yan. Ayan. Medyo review ulit ito kasi marami ditong marami ditong na i-discuss na part din siya nung CCP. Pero i-touch ulit natin siya for better understanding. Yan. Pag may mga deeper questions kayo, feel free to ask kasi ito mas detail. Ito na yung start nung mas deep dive dun sa mga services. Yan. So, balik tayo sa global infrastructure na topic ulit. Yan. Region and availability zone. So, again, merong concept of a region ang AWS na physical location lang siya. Meron tayong Australia region, meron tayong Tokyo region, ganun. Physical location around the world where we naka-cluster yung mga data center. Tapos, we call each group of logical data centers as availability zone. So ito, sa isang region, pwedeng merong magkakalayo na data center din. Magkakalayo siya pero relatively sa mga regions, mas magkakalapit siya. Meaning, yung latency, kapag yung service dito, ina-access yung service dito, mabilis pa rin siya kahit na kahit na logically, na physically magkalayo siya, pero since nasa same region siya, relatively mabilis pa rin yung latency niya. Yan. Ang AWS region is composed of at least 2 availability zone. So, para maging isang region, dapat may at least 2 availability zone that can provide yung redundancy required for cloud services. And each availability zone has independent power, cooling, and physical security, and connected siya via redundant ultra-low latency networks. Yan. It's focused on high availability. Yan. High availability. So pag may tinanong ka sa exam na ano yung kailangan mong i-set up para ma-consider mo yung architecture mo to be highly available. So you have to deploy your server across at least 2 availability zone. Kasi kapag isang availability zone mo lang siya sinet up, pag nagkaroon ng issue sa availability zone na to, down na agad yung service mo. Unlike kapag yung when you consider your architecture to be highly available, yung EC2 mo is nakaset up sa at least 2. So kahit na mag-down yung isang availability zone, nagsiserve pa rin ng traffic yung setup mo. Yan. Regional edge cache. So ito is itong concept na to is in particular offered siya for Amazon CloudFront. So it's a new type of edge location. Ang difference lang niya is meron siyang larger na cache. So mas marami siyang nasa-store dun sa cache level mo. Kasi 'di ba ang CloudFront ang service na CloudFront is basically nagka-cache siya ng data or ng mga objects sa mas malapit sa client or sa user. And yung basically yung regional edge cache is pinalaki niya lang yung storage na yun para mas marami kang ma-store dun sa edge, dun sa CloudFront mo. And this is by default turned on for your CloudFront distribution, and you don't have to pay any additional charges to use this feature. Yan. Objects remain in the cache longer kasi nga, since mas malaki yung storage niya, hindi nare-replace agad yung mga objects na nasa store dun sa cache. Next service, AWS Local Region. Yan, may mga naka-red. Ang nakalagay kasi dito is isa lang yung AWS Local Region, which is the Osaka Local Region. Pero ito medyo old, hindi na-update. Pero nung sinesearch ko siya kagabi, apparently yung Osaka has been upgraded. Define ko pala muna. Ang local region, di ba kanina sinabi natin, ang region has to have at least 2 availability zones to be considered a region. Pero yung AWS local region, it doesn't have enough AZ. So isa lang yung AZ niya. Kaya hindi pa siya pwede i-consider na region talaga. So ano siya, kaya siya tinawag na local region kasi isa lang yung availability zone niya. Pero since yung Osaka nga na local region before, yun basically. Yan. Local zone. Ano ba yung local zone? So ito naman, it allows you to use certain AWS services like compute and storage services that are closer to your end users. So ito yung mga services na example. Yung EC2, PPC, EBS, FSX, and Elastic Load Balancing. Ayan. It basically parang pinalapit lang siya. Yung services is pinalapit yung location to the end user. Kaya siya offered via local zone. So yung services can be provided with single digit na millisecond latency to your end users. So far, ito yung mga local zone na meron. So, andyan yung Los Angeles, Boston. Ito yung nakalist. Tapos, kailan ka ba kailangan gumamit ng local zone? Basically, for kapag kailangan mo ng lower latency, meron kang lower latency requirement, dun mo gagamitin si local zone. Yan, panoorin natin tong video. Walang hindi makiklik eh. Kailangan ayusin yung slide. Isisend na lang rin namin yung video. Ayan. Message ko rin sa chat. Ayun, napiplay pala. Sige, play natin. Rinig ba?
Hindi po rinig yung audio.
Teka lang. Hindi nakaset up eh. I-message na lang namin yung ano. Medyo may technical problem kami sa sa sound. Sige. Sa na lang, email na lang namin yung mga video. And you can watch kasi running low on time na rin tayo. Next, AWS Wavelength. So ano naman to? Same thing sa local zone pero instead na mas closer pa siya than the local zone. And it's also used for the requirement of single digit na millisecond latencies. And ginagamit niya yung mga 5G networks. So far, andyan yung Vodafone, SK Telecom, and KDDI. Within the wavelength zone, naka-deploy yung EC2, EBS, ECS, EKS para mas lower latency yung mga services. Ayan. It's available in partnership with Verizon in the US, tapos KDDI sa Japan. And SK Telecom, ito sa Korea naman to. Ayan. So basically it embeds AWS compute and storage services within the telecom providers data centers at the edge of the 5G network. Ayan. Ayan. So ito pala, hindi siya generally available. You have to request this specifically sa AWS support to get help for kapag gusto mo mag-avail ng AWS wavelength na service. You have to contact AWS kasi hindi siya automatically available for usage. Ayan. So may video rin for wavelength. Isasend na lang din namin yung video. Ayan. AWS Outpost. Ito naman, may video rin siya. Isasend din namin. Pero ito yung link. Yan. So AWS Outpost naman, so meron tayong kanina local zone, tapos merong local zone, tapos wavelength, tapos ngayon outpost. So mas closer pa siya. Ito naman, nasa on-prem na yung services naka-deploy. So paano yun? You can run yung AWS services locally and connect to a broad range of services available in the local AWS region. So pag sinabing AWS services on-prem, yun, parang yun yung keyword mo for AWS Outpost. And ito yung mga AWS services na pwede mong i-run for AWS Outpost. And it's also fully managed by AWS. So it's delivered, installed, monitored, and patched and updated by AWS. And it's a truly consistent hybrid experience. It relies on connectivity to the parent AWS region. So meron siyang nakaset up na very low latency na connection with the parent AWS region. So you can imagine na sobrang bilis niya kasi nasa on-prem mo yung outpost. Ayan, may video ulit. And ayan. So ulitin lang natin yung AWS infrastructure in the perspective of the user. So ito yung AWS services and ito yung user or yung gumagamit. So mas malapit yung local zone. Ito yung logo ng local zone. Ito yung wavelength, which is yung sa 5G network nga. Tapos ito yung outpost, mas malapit pa siya sa user. So you can imagine kung ang requirement mo is mas mabilis yung pag-serve ng services. Ito yung mga pwede mong gamitin to increase yung latency, to lower the latency pala. Ayan. Ayan. I think ito yung hardest topic for me, at least. Kasi hindi ako network engineer. Ayan. So, networking services. Ano ba yung mga services ginagamit for networking side naman ng AWS? Yan, paulit-ulit tayo. Amazon Route 53 ulit. Ito, more deep diving sa Route 53. Wait lang. Wait lang. Ayan. Yan. So Route 53, it's a highly available and scalable cloud DNS service. It converts DNS records to IP addresses. And you can connect your DNS record to AWS services. So pwedeng ang backend niya is direct na EC2. Pero syempre recommended yung CloudFront gamitin. Pero pwede mo siya i-connect rin diretso sa EC2. Kung gusto mo IP yung ilagay mo dun, pwede rin. Pwede ring load balancer, pero yun, kung gusto mo i-avail yung caching, lagyan mo ng CloudFront sa harap. Routing policy type, so we have different routing. Pwedeng show of hands, sino yung familiar sa mga routing policy type? Kung narinig nyo na ba to or familiar kayo kung ano tong simple routing, failover. Ayan si Joy. Geolocation, geoproximity. Meron ka ba ma-share, Joy? Recitation.
Wala po.
Wala.
Pero nadaanan ko lang nung binabasa ko yung book about AWS.
Sige. Meron yata akong slide for this in particular. Sige. Ano muna tayo. Definition pa rin. Ang Amazon route or route, depende kung European or English yung nagsasabi. Amazon Route 53, it promises 100% SLA, meaning hindi siya pwede mag-down, 100% up siya. And ang sabi ni AWS, since meron siyang service commitment nga na 100% SLA, pag nag-down yung Route 53 mo for some reason, it failed to respond to your DNS query, meron siyang ibibigay sa'yo na service credit. So it's a dollar credit that's calculated na ibabalik sa account mo. Parang ganun. Pero yun, yung promise niya is 100% up lagi itong service na to. Yan. Tapos, ano pa may masasabi ko dito? Private hosted zone. Yun lang masasabi ko sa kanya. Ayan. Ayan. Ito yung DNS routing policy. So, when you set up a CloudFront, pwede mong i-define kung paano siya nag-route ng DNS niya. So, it can be simple. Kapag simple, sabihin mo lang, itong DNS na to should resolve to this IP. Ganun. Simple lang siya. It returns a single record for each request. Yan. For example, web server mo nagsiserve for example.com, nakakonect siya sa CloudFront. Yung CloudFront, hindi naman nagbabago yung name ng CloudFront distribution mo. So, pag example.com, laging forward the request to this CloudFront. So, simple lang siya. It's single record. Yan. Pag failover naman, basically ito yung concept of active and passive. So, kunyari, meron kang active na traffic. Tapos, meron kang health check na nakaset up. Pag na-detect ni Route 53 na down yung active node na yon via the health check, i-route niya yung traffic to the failover node. So, yun lang yung concept ng failover routing. Geolocation, ito naman kapag you want to route traffic based on the location of your users. So, by country or city name siya. So, yun yung geolocation. Geoproximity naman, kapag i-route mo yung traffic based on the location of your resources and optionally, so parang similar siya in some way sa geolocation, pero gusto mo i-shift yung traffic from resources in one location to resource in another. Yun yung geoproximity. Latency, ito pwedeng possible na same routing siya sa geolocation kasi naturally kapag mas malapit by location, mas malapit, syempre mas lower latency rin. Pero in sometimes hindi naman ganun nangyayari. Baka minsan mas mabilis yung internet sa mas malayong location. So yung latency, ginagamit niya yung network speed to determine kung mas mabilis yung connection, dun siya ko-connect. Hindi siya strict na kapag mas malapit ka sa location na to, dun i-route yung traffic. So yun yung latency routing. Then meron ding multi-value answer. I think very rarely to ginagamit. Pero parang ano siya when you want to use Route 53 to respond to DNS queries with up to 8 healthy records selected at random. Yun yung multi-value answer. So pwede ka kunyari mag-send up to 8 na values. And weighted routing policy, ito naman yung gusto mo 50% of traffic will go to the India servers, 50% of traffic will go to your Tokyo servers. Ganun. Naka-weighted siya. pwede mo i-define na 20%. Ikaw, depende sa'yo. Pwede mo siyang i-select, i-set up na ganun. Yan. Dito medyo marami ring tanong dito kung ano yung best to use na routing policy kapag ganito yung use case. So kunyari, sinabi sa'yo, gusto mo super fast yung pag-serve ng traffic, ano yung gagamitin mo? Geolocation or latency? Siyempre, ang sagot latency kasi ang requirement mo is fast, not necessarily for location. Yung location usually sagot to kapag kunyari yung application mo is meron siya kunyaring nakaset up na language. For example, for India server, magiging Indian yung language ng web app. Ganun. So usually geolocation yung ginagamit na routing policy for ganong use case. So yun yung mga naalala kong question for this topic. Yung iba sa inyo baka may ma-share din. Feel free to share. Ayan. Yan, may 20 minutes pa tayo. Last slide na. 17 pa lang. Medyo marami pa. Yan. Elastic load balancing. Yan. Yan. Na-discuss naman natin, di ba, yung concept ng load balancer. So, ang pinaka-top na service na ginagamit doon is basically yung elastic load balancing. Under niya, merong 4 types of load balancer. Dati 3 lang. Merong bagong inintroduce kasi recently. Yung different types of load balancer is network load balancer. We also have application load balancer. We have the classic load balancer. And yung new, yung gateway load balancer. So, i-discuss natin siya in detail later. Ayan. Tapos, yung dun sa types of load balancer, different use case siya ginagamit din. Yun. Yun yung distinction niya from each. Yan. I-discuss natin in detail. So first one is application load balancer. So anyone familiar with the OSI 7-layer na concept? Search natin OSI. Meron ba? OSI 7-layer. Sige. Sige, mamaya. Teka lang. Yan. So, application load balancer, isang sinaserve niya dun sa OSI 7-layer is yung HTTP, HTTPS na traffic. Hindi ko memorize kung pang ilang layer to eh. Pero, isa siya dun sa mga layer, yung HTTP and HTTPS traffic. So, yung mga supported version niya is 0.9, 1, 1.1, and version 2. Meron din siyang content-based routing for this load balancer. It can be path-based. I-discuss ko rin to much later kung ano yung difference nila. Meron siyang path-based routing, host-based routing. Pwede ring depende sa fields ng request. You can also have custom HTTP response based on the request and mga target group. Paano ko ba explain to better? Sige, meron pala akong diagram after. Ayan. Ayan. So, ito yung components ng application load balancer. Pag nagsiset up ka sa AWS nito, meron kang mga dinedefine na components. So, discuss natin siya in detail. So, ito yung load balancer, yung application load balancer mo. And you have a listener. So, ano ba yung listener? Basically, it checks for request from client using the protocol and port that you configure. So, for example, sa load balancer mo, sabihin mo na port 80 will go to this listener. Port 8443 will go to this listener. Yun. So, yun yung listener. Then, yung rule naman, ito yung dun sa mga routing na sinabi ko kanina. Itong mga to. So, sa rule, pwede mong i-define na, for example, yung /info will go to a certain target group. So, lahat ng /info mapupunta, yung request Yung request na /info lahat mapupunta dito. Yung request na /login mapupunta dito sa target group. So ganun siya. Yun yung rule. So pwede ka mag-define na ayun, yun yung mga different types. Pwedeng path-based. Yun yung path-based, yung / something. Host-based naman, sige, ito pa rin tayo, yung components. Target, ito naman kung saan mo i-direct yung traffic. So ito yung example, EC2 server na andyan yung application mo. Yan. Pwede mong i-define na ang traffic is mapupunta sa certain target group. For example, meron kang dalawang EC2 in this target group. And kapag ganito yung path, dito mo i-forward yung traffic na yun sa dalawang EC2 na to. So dalawa yung EC2 na nagsiserve ng traffic. Yeah. So same thing dito, ganun din. Meron kang at least 2 EC2 na nagsiserve ng traffic for a certain rule. Yan. Target group, basically, ginroup mo lang yung targets para lahat ng based on a rule sa certain target group lang siya mapupunta. Pero basically, ano lang siya, redundant. Ginawa mo lang redundant yung nodes. Sana hindi kayo nalilito sa terms ko. Mas madali siya ma-envision kapag nagla-labs na kayo. So, we highly suggest talaga na gawin nyo yung lab assignments kasi mas ma-appreciate nyo yung theory kapag nakikita nyo na siya pag ginagawa nyo siya sa console, sa management console. Papakita ko sana, kaya lang sira kasi yung account ko ngayon eh. Ayun. Next time, try ko ayusin. Ayan, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na path-based na routing. So, nyari, /orders, dito mapupunta sa certain target group. Ayan, /images, dito mapupunta. So, application load balancer yung ginagamit doon. Since HTTP request yung inaayos. Yan. So, kung gagawin nyo na yung lab, ito yung makikita nyo sa management console. Yung magde-define ka ng rules na sinasabi ko kanina. So, pwede mong, instead of path, pwede mo ring sabihin na certain host header. Hindi ko alam kung familiar kayo sa API request, kung ano yung itsura niya. Pero meron kasi yung mga parameters na for example, yung host header. Pag nakita ng load balancer na ito yung nasa host part ng request, i-direct niya yung traffic dito sa target group na to. So, ganun siya siniset up. Individually mo i-define yung rule na yon. Na pag ito yung rule, forward to this. Parang logic lang siya. Kapag ganito, ito yung traffic na pupuntahan niya. Yung node na pupuntahan. Ayun. Next type. So, isa pa lang tayo, application load balancer pa lang. Next type is yung network load balancer naman. Ito naman, for layer 4 naman siya, dun sa OSI 7 layer. And ang hinahandle naman niya is yung TCP, TLS, and UDP traffic. So, pag sinabi HTTP, anong load balancer gagamitin mo? Application load balancer. Kapag yung traffic is by TCP, TLS, or UDP, anong load balancer gagamitin mo? Doon mo gagamitin si network load balancer. So, by use case nga siya kung anong type of load balancer yung gagamitin. Ayan. Next, gateway load balancer. So, ito yung bago. Pag sinabi kasing gateway, basically hindi nag-determinate yung traffic on the load balancer. Ganun siya. So, it operates at the third layer of the OSI model, yung network layer. And it listens for all IP packets across all ports and forwards traffic to the target group that's specified in the listener rule. So, kailan ginagamit yung gateway load balancer? Kapag gusto mo parang pass-through lang yung traffic. Kasi kung i-compare mo siya dun sa dalawang naunang load balancer, yung load balancer, andun na mismo yung dun siya mismo nagde-determine ng mga routing dun sa load balancer mismo. Pag sa gateway, dinidirect lang niya yung yung traffic sa third-party virtual appliances. Parang wala siyang ginagawang any modification. Parang pass-through lang siya. So yun yung gateway. And ginagamit siya pag mga third-party virtual appliance. Kunyari yung target group mo is hindi naman AWS service. So for example, pwede mo siya i-connect din sa on-prem na server. Ganun. So gateway load balancer yung gagamitin mo. And ito yung doc related to gateway service. Ayan. Ayan. So ayan siya. Source sends traffic to the gateway load balancer and traffic arrives at destination appearing unchanged. So wala siyang ginagawang any modification dun sa destination. Basically, ganun lang yung gateway load balancer. And yung fourth type, again, classic load balancer, hindi na siya ginagamit kasi depreciate na siya. Yung classic load balancer, which is the fourth type, it's recommended only for classic, EC2 classic instances. So kapag meron ka pa nung EC2 classic, ang gagamitin mo dun, automatic classic load balancer. Ayun. Yun yung apat na load balancer. Merong comparison dito, pabasa na lang din kung ano yung differences nila. So basically, application load balancer, network, gateway, tsaka yung classic load balancer. It operates sa layer 7, yung load balancer na to. Ito sa layer 4, layer 3, and layer 4 and 7. Ano yung mga target type na pwede mo i-set up sa kanya? IP, instance, or lambda. Pag network, IP, or instance lang. Same with gateway. Yan. Pag classic load balancer, pag classic. Ayan. Ayan. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Pag gateway load balancer, it doesn't terminate dun sa load balancer lang. Kasi pino-forward pa niya dun sa third-party appliance. I believe meron nito sa Tutorials Dojo, yung mga comparison na to. Sana basahin niyo rin siya kasi important din. Important din na ma-distinguish nyo kung kailan gagamitin yung one load balancer over the other. Yan. Dito tayo sa virtual private cloud. Ilang slide pa? Halfway pa lang. 10 minutes na lang. Sige. Sige. Tingnan natin. Yung base sa time. Siguro kapag nag-overtime po, i-continue na lang natin yung ibang part sa next session na Miss Shell. Kasi masyadong mahaba yung topic.
Sure, sige.
So virtual private cloud naman, it's a networking layer for Amazon EC2. So basically, it's a virtual network na nasa cloud. So virtual private network in the cloud. Ganun. So ano yung mga concept under nito? Andyan yung subnet, it can be public or private. Andyan yung routes, gateways, and NACL. May docs rin na in detail discussing about the virtual private cloud. Alam niyo naman yung concept ng virtual private cloud ba? Basically, ang concept nun is hindi siya ma-access unless mag-set up ka ng mga other networking components. Basta lahat ng mga dinedeploy mo na services within the virtual private cloud can only talk with each other within the same network. So nasa isang network lang siya. So yun yung virtual private cloud. Pero pwede mo siyang i-set up na mag-connect to another VPC. Doon papasok yung other AWS services na more advanced. Pero kapag yung basic setup lang ng virtual private cloud, hindi pwedeng kausapin ng services outside the VPC, yung services na as a VPC kasi ibang network na siya. Ganun. Yun lang yung concept ng VPC. Ayan. So, Internet Gateway. Ito yung logo niyang Internet Gateway. basically, it allows communication with the internet. It's a managed service. It's horizontally scaled, redundant, and highly available by default. And it provides a target in your subnet route tables for internet routable traffic. So ito yung component sa networking na sineset up mo for the internet to access yung services within the VPC. So kunyari may VPC ka dito, tapos may EC2, mga EC2 dyan. Para ma-access siya ng internet, you have to set up an internet gateway. So yun lang yung internet gateway. Route tables. Yung main definition ng route table is set of rules that's viewed in a table format. So ito yung example niya. It's used to determine where data packets traveling over an internet protocol network will be directed. So, for example, ayan, ito, pansin nyo, 000, meaning all traffic can be accessed sa lahat ng destination na ganito is i-direct nyo yung target sa, meron siyang route papunta sa internet gateway. Yan. So, you have to set this up para yung mga services mo within the VPC can be accessed via the internet. Kasi basically nag-define ka ng route for all IPs sa internet gateway. So yun yung isang example ng route entry sa route table. Meron tong concept na main route table and custom route table. By default, kapag nag-set up ka ng virtual private network sa cloud, meron siyang automatic na main route table. So, meron kang mga set of IPs na pwedeng i-deploy doon. Then, may concept din kasi sa, di ba, na subnets. So, basically, mas nag-define ka ng certain subnet kapag meron kang mga services na gusto mong naka-group into different subnet na sila-sila lang yung nag-uusap. Sila-sila lang yung may ability to communicate with each other via network. So, kung gusto mong yung subnet, meron siyang custom na route table, pwede yun para mas limited yung access dun sa certain subnet. For example, yung mga database mo, ayaw mo naman na ma-access yung database sa labas ng VPC mo. So, meron kang i-define sa kanya na custom route table para yung set of rules lang na yun yung susundin niya. So, all other traffic iba-block niya. Ganun. And by default, kapag wala kang sinet up na custom route table, gagamitin niya yung default route table na nakaset up sa VPC. So, di ba nga, pag nag-set up ka ng VPC, meron siya automatic na main route table. Pag nag-set up ka ng subnet na walang custom route table, automatic gagamitin niya yung main route table. So, hope that's clear. Ito yung medyo nakakalitong topic dito sa networking. Yan. Ito hindi masyadong, I don't think maraming question related to this, but basically merong you can have your VPC have IPv4 type of IPs or IPv6. So yung IPv4, ito yung mga 255.255.255.255. Tapos yung IPv6 mas mahaba. Mas mahaba yung address range niya. So, pwede mo ring dalhin yung, meron concept dito na bring your own IP sa VPC. So, pwede mong i-set up yung IPs mo from your on-prem network to your AWS account. And you can also use larger subnets over smaller ones. For example, you're running out of available IPs. Pwede mong i-define yung subnets mo na mas wider yung range kapag kunyari ubos na yung IP mo. Marami ka masyadong services na dinedeploy sa virtual private network, sa virtual private cloud. So, pwede mong baguhin yung subnets mo to handle more IPs para makahandle siya ng more services deployed doon. Ayan. So basic, lang siya, comparison between what an IPv4 and IPv6 is. Hindi to cloud-specific na topic, pero it's also worth to know kapag ang work mo especially is related to networking. IPv4, ayun nga yung 32-bit. The format is 32-bit and it's 4 groups, yung 4 numbers siya na up to 3 decimal digits maximum. Yung max number niya is yung 255. Yan. Ito, I highly recommend that you study how to compute yung CIDR, paano mag-compute ng CIDR kasi marami ring question related rito sa CIDR blocks. Familiar ba kayo? Pakita ko na lang kasi magandang matutunan to eh. Ito yung inaral ko talaga on my own kasi lahat ng na-attendan kong tutorials is hindi masyadong dinidiscuss yung topic na CIDR. Merong mga CIDR calculator online. Pero basically, yung CIDR, subnet, subnet range. So, for example, meron kang 192.168.24.0/. Meron ditong mga number. It can be as low as, lowest number I think is 16. Tapos, meron mga familiar, nakakita na nitong CIDR block, itong ganito. Paris nga ng hand, kung familiar kayo dito. Yun. May ma-share ba kayo? And basically, pakita ko na lang mabilis yung how to compute yung number of IPs for the CIDR block. Or may willing ba mag-share? Baka mas may alam kayo.
Sige po. Yung usually yung mga /16 yan or 32, yun lang po yung magiging basehan nyo kung ilan yung magiging usable IPs dun sa subnet range na diniclare nyo. Kung wari po yung last na input nyo is /32, alam ko pag /32 isang usable IP lang magagamit nyo.
Yep.
So meron naman po sa Google na pwede nyo po i-search siya, wari /32 usable IPs. Makikita nyo dun kung ilang IP ang pwedeng gamitin.
Yep. So, kung gusto nyo i-compute yun manually, and I suggest before you take the exam na aralin nyo how to compute that. Pero basically, yung formula niya is 2 raised to 32. Tandaan nyo tong 32 na to, minus n. So, itong n yung number na to. So, yan yung number of IPs na formula. So, for example, 2 raised to 32 minus 32. So, 2 raised to, magiging 0 siya, di ba? So, 2 raised to 0, kaya siya naging 1. Kaya sinabing 1 IP lang. Tapos pansin nyo, pag mas mababa yung number, mas marami siyang IP. Kasi, kunyari, 2 raised to 31. 32 minus 31, kunyari yung subnet range. So 2 raised to 1 is 2 IPs. Yan. Pero in addition dito sa computation na to, you also have to know na AWS sa VPC, meron siyang 5 reserved IPs. So merong mga questions sa exam na pag sinabi you need at least 4 IPs usable dun sa CIDR mo. Ano yung pwede mong gamitin na range na ganit, itong number na to. Ano yung pwede mong gamitin? So magko-compute ka. Tapos ano yung papasok doon. Pero you have to, in addition dito, kailangan mo i-consider yung 5 na unusable IPs. So for example, ang ginamit mo is yung 16 kunyari. So huwag na natin i-compute kasi math eh. Pero ano siya, pag na-compute mo na itong available IPs, mag-subtract ka pa ng 5, yun yung usable IPs mo. Yan. So yan. Sana aralin nyo to kasi malaking points din yung makukuha nyo dyan pag alam nyo siya. Maraming ganyang tanong eh. Diyan ako na dati. Nahirapan. Ayun. Yan. Ito, bumalik tayo sa subnet. Yun yung diniscuss ko kanina. So basically, it's a subnet of the VPC CIDR block. It can't overlap. And ito, AWS will reserve 5 IP addresses from each subnet. Yan. Kaya ako sinabing -5. Basta tandaan nyo lang, hindi nyo kailangan kumparasan yung 5 IPs na yun sa exam. Pero kung gusto nyo alamin, maganda rin siya alamin. Yan. Ayun. Overtime na po tayo. Tuloy ko pa ba? Well, may time naman ba kayo to continue? Or gusto nyo putulin natin yung session muna? Kasi,
Raise your hands na lang sa reactions kung gusto nyo pang mag-extend ng 10 to 15 minutes or we can parang use the time sa next session natin to do it.
Ayan, mukhang
Mukhang wala pa gusto umalik.
Kasi din kasi sila kung itutuloy pa natin.
Sige, go na lang.
Siguro i-cut na lang muna natin and then kung may questions at least for dun sa mga na-discuss nating topic, yun na lang muna i-discuss natin sa remaining few minutes kung may any questions so far. Tinry ko bilisan kaso hindi talaga kaya. Masyadong mahaba yung topic. Baka na-overload na rin kayo. So, mas better na i-stop natin. Tigil na natin.
Sige. You can also take the practice exams kasi magiging helpful yon. Tapos, what you can do is you can list down your questions for the next session or you can send it ahead para makover natin siya dun sa ano natin, review sessions natin.
Yung next session po ba, same schedule din po? Sunday, 3 to 5 p.m.?
Yeah, all Sundays, 3 to 5 p.m. siya.
Okay po.
Yan. So, sana makompleto nyo yung course. For a chance to win yung voucher ni Michelle.
Oo nga eh. Hopefully by Monday or Tuesday, they can give us feedback na that one. Sige.
Yung voucher po, pang free exam na po yun. Sana.
I'm sorry.
Yung voucher po ba, full na free yung
Yeah,
exam?
that's what we're working out with them. Full coverage.
Yes.
Let's have a quick picture lang if it's okay for you guys to turn on your video lang and then let's have a quick picture.
Sabi ko na eh.
Documentation team, sanay ka na dito. Si Joy pala, community friend ko yan, dun sa Google Developer Groups naman nun. Kaya lang kailangan magsaa sa work eh. Mag-SAA, kailangan niyang be certified. Rowdy, game. Si Tere. Ano pa ba si Tere? Ayan. Okay. Jody? Wanna turn on your video lang? Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Panigurado. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everyone. Happy Sunday. Sana hindi kayo na-overload.
Hey, guys.
Meron pala akong
Yung emails ba nila nakuha?
Yes. You can private chat or private DM nyo na lang si Tere. So
Okay po.
Send
If
yung
you're-
emails.
Yeah. If you're comfortable, you can put it here na lang.
Para doon namin isend yung assignments and materials that was discussed.